Yeah, welcome to the session today. Today we are going to learn the deep learning part. So, today's session would be the this part, this introduction to deep learning, artificial neural networks. Tomorrow we'll go with convolutional neural networks, and the third day is recurrent neural networks, and fourth day is the upper confidence bound and Thompson sampling. So today, we'll be entering into deep learning. Until yesterday, we were focusing completely on machine learning part, machine learning algorithms, and today, everything will focus into the deep learning part. So, until yesterday, the the basics, the complete. So you can go to menu and you can go to, if you want to see our videos, you can go to menu, go to uploads, and let me also just get connected with the people. So you can go to menu and go to uploads and meetup videos, and you can get the yesterday's session is on uh, K-means clustering. You can click on it and you can check it out. The yesterday session, it was part 9. Day before yesterday's session was loaded here. It is part 8, support vector machine and ABS. And the third thing, just want to iterate, if you go to our channel, bigdatahandson.com, it's our channel. Like you can see whatever videos which has been listed here. You can click on it and you can either you can give your likes here, or else you can click on dislikes as well. Please subscribe to our channel, which is here. The icon is here. Subscribe, and also you can click on the bell button, which would be useful for you to that is which would be so whatever updates we release, everything you can get it fastly. So please subscribe to our channel. You can give likes or dislikes, whatever you want. If you are giving dislikes, please ensure you provide your comments as well, so that would be useful for us to as to next session. And the last thing, just I want to tell you, please provide your feedbacks on the session, and because this is the only thing you can do for us, would be a favor for us. Please go here and please provide your reviews here, and reviews and ratings. You can go to bigdatahandson.com thing and directly give that in our Google review. So you can type bigdatahandson.com in Google, and you can go to reviews and you can rate us. Please rate us. So that would be a real favor for us. You can give like a 4-star or 3-star or even 1-star, and you can provide your comments so that it be useful for us to rectify during next sessions. So you can just rate us. You can sign in and rate us with this one, and please do that, so that it would be very good, very useful for us in taking up so it would be helpful for us to, like, other people will be viewing it, so it would be helpful for us to enhancing our thing, and it would also be helpful for all Irfan, Dinesh, so they can so other visitors can see the comments directly. That's it. So now, Irfan, now you can proceed with the session, and please provide your few people have joined a little bit extra, more people have joined, and more people will be also be joining so please, whatever doubts you have, newcomers, whatever doubts you have, like you can provide the chat part, or so that would be useful for us to clear it in the final pace of the session. Thank you. Final part of the session. And thank you. Now you're fun. You can proceed.
Yes, sure. Uh, can you make me as host? Can you make me as host? I will share
Oh
my
yeah.
screen.
1 second.
Okay. So till now we learned machine learning. Now we are going to learn deep learning. So deep learning is a subset of machine learning that created by inside of our brain structure. And in our brain we have neural networks. Like that neural networks, scientists are created artificially created neural networks, and using that we are training the model. And traditional machine learning algorithms are linear, or if you want to work with regression or classification, you need to choose different algorithms. But in the artificial neural network, you can just provide your data, and whatever classification or regression it will do. And difference between the deep learning and machine learning, uh, a very difference between the deep learning and machine learning is feature selection. In that machine learning we manually select the features by finding correlations, but in the deep learning you don't want to select the features. Just provide all of your data, and it will automatically find the features which is more impact on the output. Okay, this is the different. And another one is deep learning can work with very large data, but machine learning won't work. It work, but the efficiency is not good. So if you have a small amount of data, you can choose machine learning. But in deep learning also you can do small amount of data, but for small amount of data in deep learning, that the efficiency is not good. You need to give the large amount of data. So if you have the large amount of data, you can directly choose deep learning. And if you have small amount of data, you can choose machine learning here. So in that machine learning also we have so many algorithms there for classification and for regression. But in the deep learning, just we have a neural network and give the data, and it will train, and it will give you the output, and that's it. So for practical applications of deep learning, so the deep learning is used in banking uh, for analyzing the video footage ATM machine, so detect the abnormality activities. And for insurance it is working, and insurance company wants to be able to compute claims cost directly from images. And for healthcare also it's useful, uh, and automotive, and government, so find the cyber attacks. And these are the applications of deep learning. And in deep learning also we can work with images. So in images, no, we have a large amount of data. So that time we will choose the deep learning for images. And let's see the artificial neural network. And in deep learning we have three algorithms. One is artificial neural network, and the next one is convolutional neural network, and the last one is recurrent neural network. Artificial neural network is a basic neural network in deep learning, and the convolutional neural network is used in image processing. And the recurrent neural network is when you want to uh, remember one thing. So remember the past, yesterday what it happens. So to remember that, we use the recurrent neural networks. And let's see the artificial neural network, the basic neural network in deep learning. So in that artificial neural network, it's look like our neuron. See, it's a neuron. So in that neuron, it takes some inputs from the dendrites, and it will give the output from axon. And it has a cell body, and inside that we have a nucleus. So from this neuron, we created a artificially created neuron. So it takes some inputs. These are our inputs, and it will give you output inside this cell body. It will do some performance. Okay. And this is the thing, what it happens inside the neuron. So it takes some, it will put some bias, and it will do some transformations and do some calculations on that, and it will give you the output. And also in the neuron, the output of the neuron can be give to the other neuron as an input. And also this called as a layer. So in that layer we can have many neurons. So it's called a hidden layer. So first input layer is our input parameters. So what we have in our data, the features are else the columns. So the columns and features are this, the input layer. And after giving that input layer, from this input layer will go to the hidden layer. You can have as many as hidden layers, and you have a output layer. So based on your output what you want, if you want a binary classification, you can just choose one layer. So in that one layer, whatever 1 or 0, it will give you the result. Okay. And how neural network works. So let's say we have these four features: item visibility and item type, outlook location type, and item price. From using these four features, I need to find the sale of the item. So outlet sale. So what is the sales of the outlet? Now what it is doing in neural network, just you are just giving all the features. Okay. After giving the features, it will assign some weight is nothing but the m slope value. So y equal to mx plus c, the m is the weight here. Okay. So that means the point one change, let's say you have one unit of change in x, or what is the change of y. So that's what we are telling as a weight here. So first we are given the features. For every features, it will assign some weight. Not only this layer, if you have hidden layer, after the output of hidden layer also it will assign the weight. Okay. So now weight all assigned. So we have a hidden layer. So in that, uh, the features can be given to us like this. So it, in that hidden layer, first neuron can have, let's say, item visibility and outlook location type, as many as combinations we have. So the whole combinations, like the four features will go to the it can go to the new first neuron or the second neuron. So as many as combinations it will do. For every neuron, it will have the inputs, the features. And after that, after calculating in the hidden layer, so it will give the output for the output layer. So this is how the basic thing, how the artificial neural network is working. So the steps involved in the neural networks: first, initializing the weights and biases. So what the w refers to. So first, initialization weight means, so for every features we will give some weights. We will assign randomly, we will assign some weights. And forward propagation. So after assigning the weight and the input, we will give to the neuron, and it will calculate the whatever the y equal to mx plus c. It also using a basic equation, that is y equal to mx plus c, the simple equation it is using in the neuron. So after after calculating the y equal to mx plus c, it has some output. So the output, that output will be compared to the actual output, and it will have some error. No, so after computing the error, so the error will given to the neuron to adjust the weight. It's because we have some weights, so we have some error here. So for this weight, so we give the error as a feedback to the neural network, and it will try to adjust the weight, and it will do one more time. As you it will repeat the steps. The backward propagation is nothing but the after calculating the error, it will give it to the feedback as a neural network, and it will adjust the weight. This the back propagation will do, and repeat the steps 2 to 4. So it will do these 3 steps uh, unless you get the minimal error. Okay, and the steps. So first we are assigning the weight, so w1 dot x, and give it to the, and after that we calculating the output. It will compare it to the actual output, and the loss function will calculate the error, and it will give us an feedback to the neural network, and it will try to adjust what this doing, dw1 dw2, and this will give it to the this output will give to the input another time. So the loop will go on unless you get a minimal error. So when you have a minimal error, so that time the ANN will stop training. Okay, and popular libraries used for deep learning. So we are not using scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is basically for machine learning, but for deep learning we have different libraries like Keras, TensorFlow, and PyTorch. So Keras is an open source neural network library, but it uses a backend as TensorFlow. It's very easy to learn, and we use Keras to build the model and test how the model is working. So but in the production they are using TensorFlow, or you can use PyTorch. Okay, TensorFlow is very complex. You need to learn so many things in the TensorFlow. And also, if you not comfortable with TensorFlow, you can also learn the PyTorch. PyTorch also a simple one, so you can learn that. So let's see a demo. First I'm using this data set. This data set is churn modeling. So we will predict whether the customer be with me, or he will exit. So if the customer is now exiting, so we will give some offers, and uh, we will give some offers based on this output. So this is a churn modeling data. Now for this churn modeling, I have I think near 10,000 observations I have. Now let me create a new file. So first I will import the pandas library, and I will create a data frame for the dataset churn modeling. It's very simple. So read CSV and give the name. So that's it. Let's run this. It will create a data frame for the dataset. Okay. Now you can go to the variable explorer and see the data frame. So this is how the our data frame is look like. So it has some columns, I think, 1 2 3 So this is the last column which we are going to predict, and these are the columns which we'll use for independent variables. And I think these two columns we don't want, the row number and customer ID and surname also. So what the uh, features we want from the credit score to the end, we want the features. And why I'm not taking this three is because it's like it has some categorical, sorry, not categorical, is a name. So every person have different names, so we don't use that. And customer ID also we don't use, and row number. From the credit score we will use. So let's select the columns from the credit score to, so let's take an x variable, and x variable is our independent variable. So from the data frame I'm going to select all the rows, but from the which column, from the credit score. So 0 1 2, so index start from 0. So 0 1 2, these columns we don't want. From the third column we want, from third to -1. So I will tell you why is it. So the -1 is the last column, we will just ignore the last column, we don't want that. And dot values, and we will select the y variable. Y variable is our last column, so you can just put -1 if you don't know the index. So now you can just select this and run. So our x and y variable will created. So you can see that. And for y variable we have the array of ones and zeros. But now if you see in the x variable, there has 10 columns, and from this to these columns we have like categorical data, like geography we have Spain, France, Germany, and for gender we have male and female. So we need to encode this data, and we will find we'll see the information about the data. So you can find any missing value is there or not. So every column has 10,000 data, so there is no missing data. and uh, and for geography and gender we have categorical data, so we need to encode that. So for that I will import uh, the label encoder and the one hot encoder. Label encoder and the one hot encoder, I think. And also I need the column transformer. uh, I will use the label encoder for the y variable, and one hot encoder for the uh, sorry for age I will use the label, and sorry, for gender I will use the label encoder. For geography I will use the one hot encoder. It's because in the geography we have more than two categories, so we need to create for every category we need to create each and every columns. But gender not in the case. So in gender only we have two categories, male and female, so we can just create a binary, so ones or zeros. And to do that I will just select the column in the X. What is the column? So in that 0 1. So first sorry, I will do the label encoder first. So this is the 0 1 2 second column. So I will need to choose the second column, and for the second column I will first I will create a object of label encoder. So label encoder, and I will fit this into the fit this for the x variable, and in that x I will choose the gender, and after this it will just encode the gender category. Now we need to create an object for column transformer, and here we need to give the transformers, and transformer we will set to the in that list, put a brackets. In that bracket we need to give the encode. I'm going to encode, and for which class I'm going to use on hot encoder, and now I need to select the column which has 0 1. So the first index I will give, and for other I will just pass through it reminders equal to pass through. Now we need to fit that into the x variable, and that's it. I will run this whole. Okay, so now it's completed. So if you see in the x variable, you can see now it's converted to binary, and this is our age, like that. So now what we need to do, and after doing that we need to split our dataset into x and y variable, sorry, x train and training and testing data. So to do that we need the function train test split. I will just import that, and it returns 4 values. So I need to call the function. In that function I need to give the data x and y variable, and we need to select the test size. What would it be our size? Let's say 0.3, and random state, let's select as 30. Okay, now we got the training data and testing data. So and then uh, in that x variable, so it's not opening here, it's not opening. So I will just tell you in that for the x features we have some different kind of scaling. So we need to scale that. So to do that we need to standardize the scale, and I will just import the standard scaler, put the standard scaler, and we need to create that object, standard scalar object, and we need to fit into the x train. We transform to the x train, but in the x test we need to only transform that, not apply, just apply that. So that's it, and that's it. We applied the transformation, so now it's opening, I think. So everything is in the scale. So after doing that, we need to train our model. So we are going to train the uh, artificial neural network. For that artificial neural network, we are going to use the library called Keras. So in that library, we have the two class. One is sequential and another one is dense. So sequential class is used to create a uh, as many layers you want. So sequentially, you are just creating a layers. For that, we will create a object for sequential, and in that sequential object, we will add the layers. To add the layers, we use the class for dense. So dense is a class to create a layer. Okay. First, I will just import the to class. Uh, Sorry, it's not sklearn. This from Keras. Keras.models. Import the sequential class, and another one is the layers. Dense is the class which will create a layer. Okay, you can find it in the layers module. So dense. So we can see uh, we have multiple layers are there in keras.layers, but we want the dense to create a layer. So first I will create a sequential class to add the layers. So that would be our classifier, sequential class, and in that class only we will add those layers. So I'm just adding the first layer. First layer is our input layer. To add that, we need to use the function called add. So in that add, we need to give the layer. So layer object. So we need to give the class called dense. So in that dense, it will take some parameters. You can see here. So unit is our how many neurons you want in that layer. So you can select from the units, and we will see the activation and kernel initializer. So first I will write it down. So units as a 6. Now I need to see the dimension of x first. So there are 12 columns. So that means uh, there would be you can select the six neurons, is because the to selecting the neurons is not it will came in the trial and error, but there is a method which we are using, that is I'm just selecting the neurons as the half of the input dimension. So there are 12 columns are there. So I'm just selecting six neurons as our output of the input layer. So after the input layer, I'm planning to have 6 neurons. Okay. So every neuron will compute the uh, value y equal to mx plus c. For every neuron it will do. So let's say you have a neuron here. So in this neuron we are giving the features. For every features, it will calculate the y equal to mx plus c. So the formula, the equation, and after that it will give the output. The simple equation it is using. And after that, the next parameter would be kernel initializer. I will tell you what is that. I'm setting the kernel initializer as uniform. So we will see the kernel initializer. What is the kernel initializer? And for that, I will just tell you the weight initialization. Kernel initialization is nothing but the weight initialization. I said before, uh, for every feature we will assign some weights. Okay, randomly we will some assign some weights. Okay, to assign the weights, we use the some initialization algorithms to initialize the weights. And initializing weights randomly follows standard normal distribution. And so after initializing the weight, for every time it will just try to uh, use the weight, and there is a error, and this error will go to the back propagation, and it will try to adjust the weight. Okay, so if you don't initialize the weight, what it will happen, it will try to start from zero. So it just uh, changing the weight in such a way, it will go a loop for it will take long time to reach the minimal error. But what we are doing, we are just initializing the weights randomly, like let's say 2, 3 or anything. And from the from that weight it will start doing the process and selecting that. So we have the vanishing gradient and exploding gradient problems. So vanishing gradient is the weight update is minor and result is slower convergence. It's because if you choose a small amount of weight, so by changing very small amount of change in happen, so it will go slower, and it will take long time. So and exploding gradient is the opposite of vanishing gradient. So and then in our algorithm, what we are doing, we are selecting as uniform. That means for every feature I'm assigning the same weight. Okay, if that is the weight is 2, so for every feature we will assign weight as 2. So that's a uniform weight. And we have a weight initialization called Xavier initialization. This will used in RNN, recurrent neural network. And we have a various number of uh, initialization algorithms, but like uniform, he uniform, and Savior initialization. You can just uh, search in the Google. You can find it various types of initialization. So I'm just using the basic one, is a uniform kernel initialization, and then I need to select the activation function. And I will tell you that what is activation. Activation I'm selecting as a ReLU, and we will see what is the activation function is. So activation function determines the output of the neuron. So every neuron gives an output after calculating the equation, and that output, what will the, if I need to give the output for other layer or not. So it's like if we are running a binary classifier where our model predicts whether the given image is a unicorn or not. For that, if your output is greater than 0.5, the image is positive. Like if that output of the neuron came greater than 0.5, we need to give 1. So that determines the activation function. So in that we have various different types of activation function. What will happen if you don't select the activation function? It will be like a linear regression model that will give you the values. But we are doing for different purpose. We are doing the artificial neural network for different purpose. We can use for classification also. So how you can make as a classification? So after giving that output, we are just doing an activation function here. So this activation function will give the output, is determine the output. If that is the after this calculation, sum of I said before, so mx plus c, the same thing is happening here. So after this output, if that output is greater than or less than 0, greater than or equal to 0, we need to give 1 as an output for this neuron. and if that is less than 0, we need to give 0 as the output of this neuron. That determines the activation function. So we have various kind of activation functions. The threshold function is like when you have greater than 0, so it will give you 1, and if that is less than 0, it will give you 0. And we have another rectifier linear unit, so that will give you the positive values only, so it will ignore the negative values. If that is negative values, it will assign the value as a 0. So relay is one of the most widely used activation. So in our uh, algorithm also we are using as ReLU. Okay, so it stands for rectified linear unit. It gives us an output of x if x is positive, and otherwise it will give you the 0 value. So if that is x is positive, it will assign the value positive value. If that is negative value, it will assign 0. Okay, and another one is sigmoid function. You know that in the logistic regression we have used. So what it will do, it just if that is greater than 0.5, it will give you 1. If that is less than 0.5, it will give you 0. So that's the thing. Sigmoid is another very common activation function. Sigmoid function are used in the widely used in output of the layer. Output layer we use sigmoid function. That means if you have, let's say you have binary classification problem, so we need output as a binary, so that time for this output we will use sigmoid function. So it will give you in the ranges between 0 to 1. Okay, and another one is the tan h. So tan h basically we use recurrent neural network. So it will give you three values, -1, so +1 to -1, the range between +1 to -1. Okay, and the softmax function. Softmax function we usually used when you have more than two categories. We will use the softmax to have the probability of getting this result. Let's say you are getting the class A, what is the probability of getting class A? So it will give you the probabilities. Okay, and based on this probability, what is the highest probability, you can choose the that category. Okay, this is an activation function. So that's what we are doing in that activation function activation. And this layer is our input layer, no? So for that input layer, of course we need to select the what is the dimension of input layer. So if in our case the dimension is 12. So you can see here our x variable has 12 features, so we need to select the dimension first. For the input layer only we will do this, and input dimension is 12. Okay, now after this layer, it will give this output as the next for the next layer. Now I'm just adding a only one hidden layer. To add hidden layer, it just use add and dense function, so dense class. And then dense, of course we have units as 6, is because after this input layer we will be getting 6 output. So we want the 6 neurons here, and the same thing I will do here. So kernel initializer and activation as ReLU. Okay, so now it will become your the first hidden layer. And after adding this hidden layer, after doing that, we need an output layer. Okay, for that output layer, the same thing I will do. I will add the dense. And for this output, what we are going to do, it planning to have only one neuron, is because this is a binary classification. So I will use sigmoid function there. So that sigmoid function will give you ranges between 0 to 1. So we have only one value, no, only one output, no. So that's why I'm just choosing units as 1. So only one neuron. And the same thing here, but I will choose a different activation. And now I will do a activation as a sigmoid. So then it will give me ranges between 0 to 1. So and that's it. This is our uh, neurons. This is our neural network. And one more thing we need to do. So we done for the 3 steps. That is for the 3 steps we are done. So for 3 steps, so we initialize the weight using the kernel initializer. For forward propagation, we use the activation function, and the compute the loss function we need to do. So I will just tell you. And we just added the input layer and the input layer, hidden layer and output layer. And now we need to calculate the loss function, sorry, the error, and the error will go to the for backward propagation, and that backward propagation will adjust the weight. To do that, we need to compile this first, compile the neural network. So can use the compile function. So in that compile function, we need to give the optimizer. I will tell you that what is optimizer, and we need to give the loss and the matrix as accuracy. Okay. And first I will select the loss. Loss is nothing but the calculating the error. Okay. If you have a, this would be our regression problem. So for that we are using, can use mean squared error, uh, whatever you want. I will just tell you what are the loss functions. So loss function, to compute the loss, so it has some output. This output will be compared to the actual output, and it will give you the error. Okay. So law is a mathematical way of measuring how wrong your predictions are, used to measure the inconsistency between predicted value and the actual value. So for that, the simple is, uh, error function is mean squared error. We know that we are used in the linear regression. So mean squared error, R squared score, that is. So in the classification problem, n is the number of classes, and it will calculate the mean squared error. And another loss function we have like cross entropy. So cross entropy is more advanced than the mean squared error. This is the equation for calculating the cross entropy. And when the actual class is 1, the second half of the function disappear, and when the actual class is 0, the first half drops. So it's coming to like this. So loss will decrease. And now in my case I'm going to use the cross entropy only. In cross entropy error function we have two types. One is for binary and another one is for categorical. So binary we use when you have the binary outcome. So in our case we only have the binary outcome, we know that. So we can use binary underscore cross entropy. Okay. If in the case of categorical variable, when you have more than two categories, what it we can do, you can just select uh, categorical cross entropy. So you can just put categorical here, categorical categorical cross entropy. And now in my case only the output if binary. So you can just, I'm just selecting the binary cross entropy. And another one is after calculating this loss function, it will give the loss, the error, to the neural network as a feedback, and it will try to adjust. How you can do, how you can adjust the weight. So using that optimizer we will do that. Optimizer. Now we will see what's the optimizer is. Optimizer is the backward propagation thing. So it will try to adjust the weight, so to get the minimal error. So it will do unless you get the minimal error. Okay. Optimizer shape and put the model into its more accurate possible from by forcing with the weights. So it will try to adjust the weight, adjust each individual weight with based on this gradient in the determination direction. So what basically in the optimizer will do, I will just tell you the basic optimizer, that is gradient descent. So in that gradient descent is look like this, the parabola. And in this what it will do, let's say the this thing is our error and this is our weight. Okay. Oh no, I think this is our weight, so this is our error and this is our weight, let's say. Now for this, if the weight is here, so what would be the error? So the error is high and it will try to decrease or uh, increase the weight. And after increasing or decreasing the weight, and it is calculating the error. And if you see here, so this, for this weight it has the minimal error, so we can choose this error. Okay. For the gradient descent it will try to select the best minimal error. And in that case of like this distribution, what it will do, so when you have like this parabola, the smooth, so you can just select this, it's very simple. Okay. But in the case of this one, so what it will do, it will not work, in the gradient descent will not work. It's because it will try to find the minimal error, but it's not a global minimal error, it is the local minimal error. So if you do that using this gradient descent, it will try to find this. So but it's not a global minimal error, it's a local minimal error. But our local minimal error is this one. Okay. So for this we will use stochastic gradient descent. So in the stochastic gradient descent, stochastics avoid to find the local minimal error and help you to get the global minimum. So in that case of gradient descent is taking whole data and finding the minimal error. But in that stochastic gradient descent, it will try to find for every for every rows, it will try to find the error. Then it can uh, uh, it have the, it does not have to load entire data, it just want to load one by one. and and another optimizer, that is RMS prop. RMS prop is better than stochastic and gradient descent. So RMS prop, when you have let's say a steep curve like this, so if you do using the gradient descent, will try to adjust the weight minimal one, so it will try to adjust a little bit. And if you have a depth, so very depth is here, so if you do that in gradient descent, what it will happen, it will take a long time to find the local, sorry, global minimal error. But uh, we don't want to uh, go to the more late, so we just use the RMS prop. RMS prop will give you the momentum for that. So initially it will go a big learning rate, and when you are reaching to the global minimal error, and it will try to reduce the speed. Okay. And another we have Adam. Adam is the combination of RMS prop and stochastic gradient descent with momentum. So for everywhere it is using the Adam. So we are all using the Adam only. So now also I am using the Adam. So straightforward to implement, computationally efficiency and little memory requirements, and it will try to find the global minimal error uh, with momentum. So it is faster than other optimizer now. So now I will just select the optimizer as Adam, and we need to select the metrics. So metrics to see the accuracy, I will select accuracy. and that's it. So and this is the creation of neural network, and after creating that we need to fit our neural network to the training data. So that is very simple. So classifier dot fit into the train data, x train comma y train, and after fitting that we need to pred equal to classifier dot predict of the x test data. So this will, the output will be like from 0 to 1. The ranges between 0 to 1 is because we are on that output layer we are using sigmoid, so it will give you from 0 to 1. So now we need to classify that how, if that is greater than 0.5 we will select as a class 1, let's say 1, and if that is less than 0.5 we will classify as 0. So to do that you can just put a brackets and y underscore pride is greater than 0.5. So what it will do, if that is greater than 0.5 it will give you 1, but if that is in the case of less than 0.5 it will give you 0. We are just putting a condition in that. So y predicted should be greater than 0.5. Okay, now, and that's it. And another thing we need to do in that fit, here we need to select two things. One is the batch size and another one is the epochs. So we will see that what is batch size and what is epoch. So epoch represents one iteration over the entire data set. So in the entire data set will train in that one epoch. So in one epoch we cannot give all the entire data. We just give the split into the batches, and these batches will give to the neural network. So if you have, let's say, 10,000 data in my case, so if you choose the batch size of 200, then the epoch should contain 10,000 divided by 200, 50 iterations. So it will, for one epoch it will do 50 iterations. Okay, it's not mandatory to have only one epoch. We can have multiple epochs. In my case I will select batch size as let's say 20. Okay, batch underscore size and epochs equal to, let's say, 10 epochs. It will do for 10 times. 10 times it will do, split the batches into 20 and it will train the our neural network. Okay, now let's run this. It's not running. Okay, it's not running. think we will restart the kernel. Okay. Okay. I think we need to restart this. So any doubts you have, you can ask in that meantime. So just restarting that. Any doubts?
Any doubts, please ask in the meantime.
So one person asked what is gradient descent. So gradient descent is used for finding the minimal error. So gradient, what it will do, it will just try to find the global minimal error by changing the weight, adjust the weight. So it's just a optimizer. To optimizer will adjust the weight and to get the minimal error. So it will just try uh, all the weights, and for this weight, which weight has the minimal error. So this weight has the minimal error. So then it will choose this weight to use for this neural network. Okay. And then after finding the new best minimal error, it will stop the training. Okay. I run this. Can we generate our activation function? So for different kind of activations are available in there. Why so for your data, which activation function you want to use, you can just choose that. So we have different types of activation functions like this. So when you want 0 or 1, you can use the threshold function, or if you want the positive uh, result, so you want rectifier, you can use the relu. And in that, if you want ranges between 0 to 1, you can use the sigmoid. If you want -1 to +1, you can use the tan h. Like that, many activation functions are available. So unrecognized keyboard, I think it should be epoch.
So we do not generate activation functions. Rather, we select the activation functions, right? Already
Yes, yes,
available in Python.
yes. So I think epoch. Okay, filling mistake. Epochs. Okay. So for every epochs, it will try to learn that. So you can see here the first epoch is going on. So for the first epoch, it will try all this data, and loss is 0.54. So accuracy is 0.79, and now it is just trying changing the adjusting the weight, and it will calculating the accuracy. But after that, you can see our accuracy will be 0.83. Just every time, every epoch, it is just uh, trying to adjust the weight and trying to have more accuracy. And if you select you can just increase the epochs to have uh, more accuracy if you want. So one person add y predict equals 0.5 is taken. So what I'm trying to do is when you have the probability, so it's giving in the sigmoid function will give you in the 0 to 1, no. So in that 0 to 1, I'm just putting a threshold value, so that is 0.5. So from that 0.5, I'm just classifying that. So if that is greater than or less than, I'm just selecting that 0.5. So now the accuracy is increases. It's came to 0.84. It's not the case when you have only one hidden layer. You can also add many hidden layers. Just let's me add another hidden layer. I'm adding 2 hidden layers I have. Now let's try to run this. So like that it will do the neural network, the training of the neural network. After training that, if you see in the image processing, for the training the image processing, it will take a week or a month. So when you have more than a million images, so for million images we have million amount of data, so that time it will take more time. So but in our case, in this data only we have 7,000, so it's taking some time. So you can see here, so it came 0.83. So like that you can just add more hidden layers, or you can do more epochs.
So epochs is like iteration, right?
Not iteration, it's like giving the whole training the model for whole entire data for one time. So what is the one epoch? So one epoch contains some iterations. That iteration will be your whole data divided by the batch size is our iteration. If the process one process, so it will give you the entire data to the neural network and train it once. So this is a one epoch. For 30 times we are training the neural network every time.
So like we will send all data to the neural networks 30 times, right?
Yes,
It's like the
yes,
30 iteration, that means.
yes.
And batch size is sorry, I
20.
forgot.
20. Batch size is the we are just not giving the whole data, entire data. If you have 10,000 data, we are not giving the whole 10,000 data to the neural network. We are just splitting into the parts. So let's say I'm selecting 20, so I'm just splitting into 20 parts, and
Oh,
yeah.
so we are splitting our whole data set into 20 parts. That means,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other doubts?
Yeah, one thing I want to ask.
Yes.
Yeah, as you taken the vibrate is 0.5 based upon the probability, right? That one.
Yes,
But
yeah.
can we choose that? Suppose we have any other options for choosing that probability as different points like 0.7 or 0.4, something like that, based upon some any
No, it
particular data
depends on
sets.
your it depends on your output. What output you want? Like, if you want the classification. So for in binary classification, you use sigmoid. No, so that time we use 0.5 there.
Okay. Is there any chance for taking a different probability points? How can
It's
we choose that one? Means
it's
we
your
can choose
choice.
it.
It's your choice. No, you can just select whatever probability you want. So I want 60% accuracy, 60% probability to get that. So you can select as 0.6. But now I'm selecting a only 50% chance to uh, get the output.
Yeah, is there any thing? How can we find out that particular threshold
No,
point?
no, I think I don't know that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, wait. So weight, some person asked what is the weight. So weight is nothing but the slope value m. So in that equation of y equal to mx plus c, the m value is our weight. So for 1 unit of change in x, what is the change of in y? So that's what we are just selecting in the.
Irfan, can you put that in Notepad? And
Okay, yeah. So it says my understanding weight is some point that we assign to some feature of our data. Different features are assigned with different points. Uh, it's a slope value, so it's a m value in that equation. So in that neural network, in that every neuron, we are trying to calculate the mx plus c. Okay, mx plus c. So that time we want the m value, so slope value. So we just assign the slope value is a randomly, and we will try to calculate the equation. And if there is any error to choose this weight, so we will adjust the weight, adjust the m value. Okay, this is the simple equation which is using in the neuron. So mx plus c, you know that. I think you understand that. And the next, so how to increase hidden layers. How to increase hidden layers is it needed? So hidden layer we will add in trial and error only. So first try to add only one hidden layer and try to train the neural network, and if that is very low, you can just try to add more hidden layers, and you can select the number of hidden layers when you have more accuracy in that. So it comes in trial and error only. Okay. Okay, any other doubts?
Sorry, you said hidden layers and trial and error, right? That I did not understand.
No, you need to try to add more hidden layers as you want. So I just tried only one hidden layer, so the accuracy came 0.83, and now I'm just trying to add more hidden layers. I'm just adding another hidden layer. That time my accuracy is coming like 0.83, but for one hidden layer I just got 0.8. Now you can choose only one hidden layer, so or else you can try more hidden layers to add more hidden layers.
Oh, okay. So our accuracy is higher with one hidden layer, right? That's why we
Yes,
are
yes,
removing the second one, no?
yes. Or else you can just add one more hidden layer. Try to add one more hidden layer. If that also coming very less, so you can just choose one hidden layer. No,
One. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, okay. Because we
that's
have less error with the one, right? Sorry,
yes,
less.
yes.
Okay, fine.
More accuracy in that.
More accuracy, yeah.
So that so we can add as many as hidden layers, maximum hidden layers, maximum accuracy, but it takes longer time and consume more memory. Yes. So it's because every time you are just giving this output to the other layer and this output to the other layer, and just calculating those things. So it will take more time now. But for our case, it's just quickly just doing. But if you have millions of data, it will take long time. Let's try one more time.
These hidden layers, they are actually like algorithms, right? Or
Not
what are they?
no. For hidden layers, every hidden layer we have a number of neurons. No, so every neurons will calculate a value using the equation y equal to mx plus c. So,
So every hidden layers is like calculation.
yes, every hidden layer, hidden layer, we will give the features and we will calculate the value. This output will give it to the another hidden layer, or you can also used for the uh, output layer as.
Okay, thank you.
Any other doubts? Irfan,
Yes.
the last one, that is the units value selection, which is asked by Arjun.
Yes, that also came in
Yeah, it's
trial and error,
no,
but
it's been addressed, right?
what?
No, that thing has
Uh,
been told, right? Like
yeah,
that issue.
before I told before that,
Okay.
is a thumb rule to choose the units like half of the input dimension. So if you see that my input dimension is it was the features of x variable, that is 12. I'm just choosing the half of the units, but you can also try to change the unit values, and if that is giving you more accuracy, you can choose that unit. So you can choose the neurons. Units is the number of neurons. Okay.
Yes. Please address Vasu Vardhan. Can you use other than y equal to mx plus c?
No, in the
Put it in the note.
yes.
Open notepad and put it there, and please address it. Yeah.
Okay.
Others should be able to view, right?
It is not always we can achieve accuracy within less single as well. Okay. And another, can we use other than y equal to mx plus c? No, in the neural network, the scientists are built using the y equal to mx plus c only. So we cannot choose the other one.
It's not that we are using y equal to mx plus c. It's hidden, right? It's sorry.
Yes.
It's like it's already in the algorithm or whatever, right? It's not that we are
Yes.
choosing or we are using.
Yes. So we can also use different functions together, correct? Please as well how it will impact the model. So yes, one more thing is in that layers, no. So in that layers you can also use different kind of activation functions in that layers. So I'm just using very low, but we can try to use different activations, and also the kernel initializer one also. In that kernel initializer, if you go to the TensorFlow documents, you can see lots of kernel initializers are there. So not only the uniform, uh, I think kernel, I think this one, TensorFlow documents, I saw it here. For every activation functions or hidden layers, you can see here the documentation of TensorFlow. So it has he uniform. Let's try to use the he uniform. I think he underscore. Let's try to use this. So here you can see the Keras, the activations. What are the activations we have? We have ELU, exponential, linear, number of activation functions we have, and also for initializers. So you can see deserialize, get, chlorate, normal. So all these are initialization. It's now getting more accuracy. Yes. Just increasing the accuracies. So finally we got 84.4. Okay, this is how you can just improve the neural network by changing the initializer, or changing the activations, or choosing the number of epochs. Okay, any doubts, any other doubts?
Fun.
Yes.
Can we have in the hidden layer different kernel initialization and different activation methods? Like here we are having ReLU as the same for all the hidden layer, right? So for
Yes.
one, can you have multiple activations?
Yes, you can have.
Okay.
Okay. Any other doubts you have? So from this we will end this session. I think no doubts.
Yes.
One
Any
doubts.
doubts, please ask. It is the final call. So tomorrow's session would be CNN. I guess that's it. So,
Okay.
let me just open my screen. So last I have iterated, right? So see, we are a young team. So please Google it, bigdatahandson.com. If you do it right away, then it will be very helpful for us. Just Google it to bigdatahandson.com. If you come down, you can go to reviews and please rate yourselves using this thing, Google, and you can just sign in and you can provide your reviews there. You can also provide your comments as well. So it would be very much helpful for us as lots of people will watch this Google reviews before entering to the session. So that is the big thing that we expect from you all. And also, you can enter into our, you can go to our website, bigdatahandson.com, meetup uploads, meetup videos. So here you can find those lots of videos here. So yesterday's videos. Today is part 10. So part 9, part 8. It will be in the same poster. It will be. So you can just check out this poster. So the same poster, you will be see this is the poster. So for all 9 parts, this is the poster. And older videos also we have it in Tamil, we have it in English. Tamil is our native language, so we also do it in Tamil as well. Sometimes we do it in Tamil. We have it. So you can go there and watch our videos, and also you can also go to our YouTube channel, and also you can subscribe to our channel as well. So you will have more updates, the topics which has been discussed. Videos would be posted on daily basis. So here you can go there and you can click on subscribe. You can click a video and you can subscribe to our channel. And you can and also click on this bell icon, so you'll have immediate updates. You can also give likes, or else you can give dislikes as well. If you are giving dislikes, please ensure you please ensure you are giving a right comment, so that we can rectify it in our next sessions. And tomorrow's session is this one, that is introduction, that is convolutional neural network. So this is the part day, that is convolutional neural networks is tomorrow's topic. Please browse it, so you can ask whatever doubts you have right away over the call during that session. So you can have a quick glance on CNN in internet, so it can be useful for you to ask doubts later to CNN. And that's it. So tomorrow morning, we shall all meet during the sessions. And before that, you can also check out our mobile number. So whatever doubts you have, you can ask 978-988-424. And also, like, you can also join in our WhatsApp group if you wish. Tomorrow I'll be sharing those links. Like, lots of one group is being full, and group 18 G18 is there, so you can join that link. That group link, I'll be sending it tomorrow. Oh, that's it. So tomorrow, no, we shall all meet up exactly at 6:30. Thank you.